Good day, everyone. I am Professor Jameson Hyde White, or as I jokingly like to refer to myself as, the second most famous archaeologist in the world. Here are 100 facts about the Scooby-Doo episode, What a Night for a Night. Oh, excuse me? I'm not the second most famous archaeologist in the world. Are you mad? Do tell me who is. Who outcompetes me for archaeology, especially in medieval history? Laura Croft? What? Why? You can think of two good reasons. Oh dear Lord, I am surrounded by Australopithecus, aren't I? Fact number 1. I think about Scooby-Doo a lot. And for the past 25 years, I've been debating what episode would I show someone for the very first time if they did not have the slightest knowledge of Scooby-Doo. They didn't even know it was about a dog or a mystery. What would I show them? And that was 25 years ago. That's when Zombie Island was coming out. And that might have been like the perfect introduction because I would have been in my 20s and my friends would have been in their 20s. And maybe that's just something I'd probably show them because that was a great movie, right? And I think kids in their 20s would have loved that if they weren't familiar with Scooby-Doo. But now we're on year 55 of Scooby-Doo, right? And there's just been so much content since, and so many great movies like The Witch's Ghost. And, the kids nowadays seem to love Mystery Inc. or maybe something a little more modern like Scooby-Doo Guess Who with that more modern animation. Even What's New Scooby-Doo with a little more modern animation, or one of the more modern movies. If they're a wrestling fan, do I show them the wrestling movie, right? Or movies? What do you show them? And I'm thinking I would show someone now something classic from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And my favorite episode from that series, especially season 1, would have to be A Night of Fright Is No Delight. But would I show them that? Or would I show them Scooby Natural? Because maybe I know they're a Supernatural fan and it just makes sense to show them Scooby Natural, right? Or do I show them A Night of Fright Is No Delight? But no, that's not what I'm going to show them. What I'd show them would be What a Night for a Night, which isn't my favorite episode, but I think it's still a 10 out of 10. I think a lot of people who've watched Scooby-Doo a lot maybe don't love that episode as much because it's just appeared a lot. Like I think it's appeared on like 23 different forms of physical media, so maybe they're kind of like tired of it. Some people complain it drags a bit, but I think that's just because we've all seen it a lot. But I think if I was introducing someone to this series, I'd start at the very beginning. So if you hold on to your hula hoops, I'm about to explain why. So I want to do something a little bit different and show you clips from the episode. I guess I normally do, but I wanted to show longer clips, and typically to avoid getting my video taken down from the powers that be, I could only show 2.5 seconds of a clip, but I wanted to show something a little bit longer. And to do that, I had to distort it a bit. So I got some kind of filters going on just to kind of make it a little bit distorted, and also have to kind of talk through them because you can get videos taken down due to audio strikes. So I have to do that too. There's that great, wonderful score in the background. So I just wanted to point out several of the reasons why I love this episode and what makes it so fantastic. And let's just start with this opening scene here. I'm going to hit play soon, but right away we have a full moon. So that just sets the atmosphere. It's dusk, right? Imagine you're a kid, you woke up Saturday morning, it's September 1969. You don't know what Scooby-Doo is. Maybe you just saw maybe they had commercials running just to kind of promote it. I don't know. I know there's like an ad in a comic book. Maybe you saw that. Chances are you probably didn't. You probably just woke up, saw something called Scooby-Doo, and you're like, I like Hanna-Barbera. This is a Hanna-Barbera show. Let's check it out. So this is the opening scene. Again, I'm sorry I have to talk through it to avoid takedown due to the audio, but check it out. This is really cool. So here we have Professor Hyde White driving in his pickup truck. Seems normal. Doesn't seem ominous. And then we got something, it's kind of like a coffin in the back, not really. Look at that, Black Knight. And this scene's awesome. Just these glowing eyes just coming out at you, just perfection. Imagine, that's like the best opening scene you can get. It just immediately gets your interest. You have that cool music too. And yeah, let's check out the next scene. So this next scene, we got Scooby and Shaggy walking home from the theater. And I think we can all kind of relate to this, being kids at one point where we might have stayed out too long. You know, we were out and we noticed, oh, the street lamps have come on. You're maybe out in the woods playing and, you know, it starts to get cold and because it's, you know, it's a summer day, let's pretend. And it was hot when you went into the woods and then you get that chill from the sun setting and you just get out into the streets and it's still dark. It's still dark and you're kind of like, I wish I was home right now. I wish I didn't have to make this long journey home. Why didn't I go home sooner? So this kind of sets the stage. And I'm going to talk through this clip, but at the start, we also get a wolf howling. You might not subconsciously or consciously notice it, like if you're watching for the first time, but subconsciously, you probably pick up on that wolf howling and you remember that full moon. So you get the full moon, right? And then you get Professor Hyde-White with the Black Knight, and then you get this wolf howling. Just the atmosphere just carries on. So yeah, wolf howling right there. And then we get first introduction to Scooby and Shaggy. And we get a bit of a laugh track going on, and Shaggy's complaining about, oh, we're late because of, you know, Scooby wanted to see the show, and, you know, Shaggy's scared because it's nighttime. So it just really sets up the scene, and it's a perfect introduction to Scooby and Shaggy, I think, too, because you can tell they're BFFs, but also they're kind of scaredy cats too, or at least Shaggy is in this scene. And the next scene we have is them discovering the Black Knight. This scene's awesome. I'm just going to play it. Again, I have to talk over it. Looks like a deserted type. So yeah, close up. We know the Black Knight's in there now. We can kind of see him. We're like, where's the professor? And this is perfection, right? Head just rolls right off. We knew there was glowing eyes in there before, so we're like, what the heck? We knew someone was in there. Now no one's in there. Where did the ghost go? Because now we're kind of assuming maybe it wasn't a person. Maybe that thing was haunted. And you know what? I hear people complain maybe that the Black Knight isn't the most interesting or spookiest villain. But when you think about it, the knights, what did they do? They fought on battlefields, you know? It was a dangerous thing. If you're going on a battlefield, chances are you weren't coming home, or you're coming home brain damaged because you got a mace to the head, or, you know, you got your arm hacked off by a sword. It's gory and it's gruesome. And a lot of people died on battlefields in suits of armor, even if they were jousting. That was dangerous. You know, you're pointing like a joust at someone, driving on a horse at like a very fast speed to knock them off. It's not a good thing. That's, you know, someone's gonna lose an eye or, you know, get hurt. So it just only makes sense a suit of armor would be haunted. Let's check out the next scene. So in this scene, just a quick one, I just wanted to show the first introduction of the gang together. It's perfect. I know it's distorted, but the color layout of like everyone kind of lined up in their respective wardrobe is amazing. It's just, we're also got the knight's head still on the ground too, which is kind of cracks me up a bit. But yeah, let's just check out the scene again. I gotta talk over it.
You're right, Shaggy. This sure is strange.
So yeah, that's Daphne talking. And then we kind of figure out maybe Fred's the leader because he's up in front. Just an amazing scene, just amazing introduction to the gang. And I think it's just the perfect thing to show a new Scooby-Doo viewer, right? It's just a perfect introduction to everyone. I wanted to show this clip because we get Freddy saying something a little bit different than he normally says. It's got a little bit of flair to it.
Well, gang, it looks like we're up to our armor plates and another mystery.
Yeah, so normally Freddy would say, well, gang, looks like we've got another mystery on our hands. Here, like I said, it's got, you know, some funness to it. I like it. You know, I like the gang having their catchphrases and all, but when they kind of mix it up, it's cool too. And he says another mystery. So if this is your first time watching it, you know, it's the first episode. It implies they've been doing this before. Like they've done some other mystery solving. And that kind of gets you curious about maybe what they've been doing in the past. Fact number 81. This is the first appearance of Daphne. Fact number 80. This is the first appearance of Velma. Fact number 79. This is the first appearance of Fred. Fact number 78. This is the first appearance of me, Professor Jameson Hyde-White, the third most famous archaeologist in the world. Oh, come on! I'm not even the third. Who's the third? Are you kidding me? That hack?
Brendan Fraser from The Mummy? This is madness! He's not even an archaeologist in that movie, he's a grave robber! I did not spend the better half of my life sifting through the petrified waste found in the latrines of medieval castles ranging from the 8th to 16th century to figure out the dietary habits of the inhabitants within to be outshined or overshadowed by that hack!
With this clip, we meet Mr. Wickles and we get some of the mythology behind the suit of armor. Again, I kind of have to talk through it. But yeah, I love this myth, but I love this part even better where it's coming. I thought it was coming sooner, but here, that. Black Knight's eyes light up. Very cool. Spooky. Imagine watching that as a kid, you know, like, who is in there? Is that the ghost? Or is it a person? Remains to be seen. Because we don't even know what Scooby-Doo is yet. We don't know if people are being unmasked or if it's a real ghost yet, right? That's what makes this episode like the perfect introduction. With this next scene, I just wanted to highlight the gang going to the library. Unfortunately, in the series, they don't go to the library a lot. I wish they went a little bit more because it promotes literature and stuff and people doing research. Maybe they thought this kind of thing repeated would be boring and we just kind of assume they go to the library a bit more. But yeah, I love the scene with the gang gathered around the book. But I love that scene, I think I'm going to play a little bit later, where they're like shocked. It's in the opening credits too, like you see it every time. If I could have a portrait above my fireplace of anything from Scooby-Doo, any scene, it would be that. Here's that scene I promised. Just coming right up. Right that. Maybe, you know, I'd fiddle around with it, get something a little bit different, but yeah, that look of surprise is amazing. And just one coming to the same conclusion. And then Freddy's line there too. Such a great line. And then Velma, she also says, hold on to your hula hoops. That's a great line too.
Fact number 49. This is the first appearance of the Scooby Snack. Fact number 48. There is no other food in this episode other than the Scooby Snack and perhaps the dinosaur bones, but there's not really bones, are there? They're rock. Fact number 47. This is the 4th most distributed episode on physical media, which is fitting because I am the 4th most famous archaeologist in the world. Right? Wrong? Kermit the Frog in the Muppet Babies intro dressed as Indiana Jones? I need more scotch over here. More scotch over here, please, young man. I need more scotch to get through these facts.
There's no dialogue in this scene, but unfortunately I have to talk over it too so I don't get shut down. But I just wanted to showcase like the setup for the museum. Again, full moon, very cool. Shows there's 2 full moons in a row, which really isn't possible on our planet at least. But it kind of makes sense because as a kid, you don't know what like a partial moon is really. Like even now as an adult, I'll look at it and like, yeah, it's a full moon. But then I'll see, oh no, the full moon's in a couple days because it's, it's close enough. Clouds get in the way. They block maybe the side of it. But yeah, just check out this scene. It's just so cool. Just that music, that part where, yeah, I don't know what instrument does that, but it's chilling. It gives me goosebumps right now. And it just sets up, something spooky's going to happen. Let's check out the next scene. So with this scene, the gang are breaking into the museum and we get a little bit of a view into the Mystery Machine. We've seen the Mystery Machine already when they go to the library, but we get a hint of what's in the back. You can see a first aid kit and a wooden mallet and maybe looks like a lantern. Maybe some other stuff is in there too. Later on, we see the ladder. But yeah, this is cool. The gang are breaking and entering, but they're doing it for the good of Professor Hyde-White. They know they can solve this case, find Professor Hyde-White, because no one's maybe looking for him yet. Maybe, you have to be missing for 48 hours for someone to look for you. And they're like, let's get on this. This guy could be in danger. So, I don't promote you breaking into museums, and I don't think anyone does. This is just for fun, like a cartoon. But yeah, it's a cool scene. And as a kid, you could imagine being in their position too. Would you, at their age, break into a museum in order to help someone, even though you weren't exactly sure if they were in there or not, right? Let's check out the next scene. So I can't react to everything I want to. I would love to, but it'd be a long video. And I'd rather have you watch just this episode on its own than me jibber jabber throughout it. But this scene, okay, so Shaggy's already broken in. He's done his thing where he kind of falls down staircases or whatever. He gets to the door, or he's going to the door, and we get this creepy scene with the eyes. And there's a laugh track, granted, and I think they put that in there just because maybe they watched it and thought, okay, with this music and the setting, it's maybe a little bit too scary. So if we throw in this laugh track, it'll just let kids kind of realize, okay, man, this isn't too serious. You don't have to be, crying, get nightmares from this. This is just all fun, right? So yeah, love this part right here. So cool. And that music, that instrument again, I just thought downward tone of it is so cool. If you know what that instrument is or how they do that, let me know. All right, this is the first time we see the gang split up, and it's classic Freddy going off with Daphne, Shaggy with Velma, but Scooby-Doo, he's left on guard. So that's a bit unusual, right?
This place sure is creepy at night.
Usually Scooby goes with Shaggy.
Creepy during the day. I think we better split up. Daphne and I'll go this way. You two go that way.
So good.
Scooby, stand guard.
Look at Scooby's reaction. He's like, what? What? No, I should be going with Shaggy. That's what I always do. But being the first episode, we don't know that. All right, this scene is legendary because it's the introduction of the Scooby snack. And we learn Scooby starts off with 2 Scooby snacks.
Would you do it for a Scooby snack?
Of course he would. 2.
Okay.
Scooby knows. Scooby's smart. He knows how to barter. All right, more music in this one, so I gotta kind of talk through it, but look at this. Full moon again, reminding us it's in the window. We can see what's going on here. We're a little bit spooked out at that full moon because we know wolves, werewolves, full moon, Black Knight, full moon. Shaggy thinking, maybe if I close the blind,
Turns on that black night.
we'll avoid the whole Black Knight thing. With this scene, what I love are just the long shadows that come up, right? So we see Velma and Scooby's shadows, and they're long, and yeah, just so creepy. I wish they did this more in modern animation, just the style, just make everything creepy. It'd be awesome. All right, again, I have to talk through this. I apologize, but the scene's awesome. Scooby's got his mouth wrapped up. Look, Black Knight, it's the first time we see him interacting with the gang, but Scooby has his mouth wrapped up because he was chattering before. So Velma took a handkerchief or whatever, tied up his muzzle just so he could stop. Nothing cool going on there. That classic pose with the Black Knight, it's like that universal monster pose, that you would see in the 30s and 40s. Dracula did it, Frankenstein did it, the creature from the Black Lagoon did it, the werewolf did it. So cool. Velma losing her glasses for the first time. That's cool too, right? That's a common trope, and this, so funny. Because it's dark in there, and he's got the mask on, he can't see her. And Velma can't see, plus it's dark out, so she can barely see at all now, and she thinks it's Shaggy. But what we learn is that Shaggy, or Velma, carries around Shaggy's cough medicine, which, just shows these people care for one another. Well, I guess it also means that Shaggy has a cold in this episode too. But yeah, this is just such a funny scene. Hopefully that doesn't make him drowsy, because I wouldn't want to be drowsy in the museum. I'd want to be on full alert when that Black Knight was coming around. Okay, this scene is played for laughs, but it's just, the writers of this were just so imaginative, because they're like, what would a dog be interested when they're in a museum? And of course it's dinosaur bones. And of course kids are totally interested in dinosaur bones as well, right? Like, that's the prime draw for a lot of kids to go to the museum, is to see the T-Rex skeleton, and bam, we get this. But Scooby sees bones, which are really fossils, which are really stone, so it doesn't really work out for him, but still funny. And as a kid, it's funny as an adult. It's just a great scene. Something about this scene, like, you don't really see it too often in Scooby-Doo, is talking about blood. Like, blood's generally avoided in conversations in Scooby-Doo because it's scary and it's disturbing to a lot of people. And I think this is the only episode where they might mention blood, other than maybe some odd vampire episode, I would imagine, because vampires drink blood. But this is interesting, right? And if you're seeing that as a kid Saturday morning, that's going to creep you out. But fortunately, they straighten it out right away, where Freddy goes, it's paint. but it's like a trail, and you can kind of see it against the edge of a wall, which make you think that's a fake wall. But we're going to find out soon that there's something else going on. Again, the moving eyes. Just brilliant. I wish they do it with paintings in a lot of classic horror movies, but just to have the statue there, it's creepy. Again, laugh track, just to lighten the mood, just so no one has any nightmares. Saturday night, right? But yeah, check out the next scene. All right, so they followed it to this, they call it a mummy case. Maybe it's a sarcophagus, but maybe that word's too big for kids, or maybe I got it wrong. But yeah, this is a cool shot too, right coming up here. I'm going to pause because I love this scene too. I would love that too above my fireplace, although it's kind of blocked off on the sides. But this is such a great shot too. Again, maybe I'd get like a better one going on where their eyes are open, but that is such an interesting perspective, and it just makes this episode so cool because the artists, they took the time to do some cool shots like this. And I think, modern cartoons, they don't really do that. Maybe it's just scheduling. Maybe, yeah, it's all about making the money now and being efficient. But here they really, remember we get that introduction to the museum, that just establishing shot, and we get the library, cool scene with the library. And they just do so much in this episode. That makes it just perfect. And then it sets up the mystery too, really quick. And this scene is awesome because it's the first time everyone sees the Black Knight. It makes everyone scatter too. And just, it already kind of establishes too that Daphne's maybe a bit danger prone because she's the one who opens the door and bam, Black Knight. Exactly, danger prone Daphne.
Fact number 21, your old boy Swampy Pete, I'm not in this episode. Fact number 20, if I had a cat, I would name it Mr. Wickles. Fact number 19, I don't think you've hit that like button now, have you yet? So if you haven't, make sure you press that. And while you're at it, subscribe and hit the alert button and leave a comment too. Can't think of nothing to type? I suggest you type, I break for Black Knights. That's all you're going to hear from me. Let's get back to the show.
So I've skipped all the hoopla with the biplane and the museum and the whole capturing and the unmasking of the Black Knight. And yeah, this just kind of wraps things up in a nice, pretty bow. Right? Wasn't for the gang, mystery wouldn't be solved. And then Freddy explains everything that was going on with the fake artwork and why Professor Hyde White might be missing too. Yep. Velma knows. I'm going to show one last scene with Professor Hyde White. And I'm just showing it because it's a cool, again, wrap-up. Because Scooby finds him. So yeah, the gang kind of already forgotten about Professor Hyde White, but Daphne remembers after what Velma says. And then yeah, Scooby-Doo to the rescue. Right here. Scooby's got a shoe. Who's it going to be? Fortunately, Professor Hyde White. And he's the guy behind the thing, right? Like, so cool. Obviously, with the gag on his mouth, he could have went, but I don't know, maybe he's British. Maybe that's impolite or something. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, such a cool scene. And yeah, I could have showed you pretty much any scene from this episode and I would have been ecstatic about it. But these are some of my favorites. And even though this isn't my favorite episode, it's got some amazing everything just about it. So that is why I think this is a perfect introduction to Scooby-Doo.
Fact number 3, we're out of scotch here. Fact number 2, the Archaeologist Society of Popularity is run by clowns. Fact number 1, I have appeared in another episode besides this. If you know what it is, leave a comment below. And there are 100 facts about What a Night for a Night. I do hope you enjoyed, and good night, everyone.
So do I feel Scooby-Doo What a Night for a Night is the best episode out there? No, there's other ones I like a little bit more, but I think this is an amazing episode. It's still a 10 out of 10 for me, even though, it doesn't have all the tropes. It doesn't have Velma saying jinkies or Daphne going jeepers, right? None of that's going on, but it has Scooby snacks. It doesn't have a trap or much of a chase scene. It's a small chase scene, so I guess we do get one, but there's no trap. We do get an unmasking. And, the interaction between the villain and the gang isn't all that much. You only get 2 to 3 interactions, which is unfortunate, but it's got atmosphere. It's got amazing music. It has just everything you need to know right away. We know these 5 characters are all pals and they solve mysteries and they care about other people. They want to find the missing professor. They all have a lot of heart. And there's maybe not a lot of suspects, but if this is your first episode watching it, you really don't know all the tropes. You really don't know where it's going. And there's, I don't want to say better, but there's just as awesome episodes to follow that are going to keep you thrilled and amazed and entertained. And that is why I think this is the perfect episode to begin with. So if you were going to show someone an episode of Scooby-Doo for the very first time, what would you choose? Would it be classic Scooby-Doo like I picked? Would it be the first episode, or would you go with something a little bit different? Would you do something more modern? Would you do a movie? Because there's a lot of great movies out there with Scooby-Doo, right? Would you do the live action movie, or would you do something else, right? Let me know. I'd love to hear. And now for a couple channel updates. If you haven't noticed, I've been doing trying to get some new things with my videos. I'm doing some skits. I'm just taking different approaches to how I review things, and I'm kind of redoing a lot of my reviews. So I've done like the spooky space kook, and I just did What a Night for a Night. And I'm going to plan to do maybe something different for not every episode, because I'm not that creative to come up with something different for every episode. And just getting all the props for everything would be fairly expensive. So I'm going to try and do a lot of classic episodes of Scooby-Doo because that's what I'm most interested in. And I want to do maybe some movies as well. I don't know how successful they will be. My goal is to put out maybe one a month and then maybe a bonus video. Let's just say one a month. I don't know if there'll be any bonus videos. These videos are time consuming. I will probably return to my classic reviews. I just got so burnt out on releasing something every Saturday. And the videos did take a lot of time. I've already had 500,000 views, so people did like them and love them. And I'm thankful for that. So if you've ever watched a video, thumbed up it, wrote a comment, thank you. It means a lot to me. And that's all I got to say for now. So until next time, stay spooky.